You made me tear up both times. Thank you again. Thank you. The word elder has a tough life. Few know what exactly it means in our culture, though it has clear meaning in other cultures, indigenous and Chinese, for example. Most of us in our culture assume it just means old, like elderly. It does mean that in part, making it even more confusing. My hope is that as this sermon unfolds, all of us will be clearer about its meaning and the life role it describes, what being an elder is like. Now here's one academic definition. A, quote, modern elder is not just defined by age, but by wisdom, good judgment, insight, and emotional intelligence. Modern elders have a mindset to find purpose and meaning in later life, which can include mentoring and sharing knowledge. Unquote. Now, on my good days, I am an elder. On my bad days, I am an elder wannabe. An old man working to push through, not seeing well, not hearing well, being wobbly sometimes, working to catch my breath other times, attempting to manage what it means to be old while very imperfectly continuing a life of service as a retired minister. There are many in this sanctuary right now who are working to live a similar life. All of us who are old, especially, doing our best to live through all that it means to be old. Managing illness and physical breakdowns, falls or the fear of them, the regular medical visits that come with them, loss of friends, and loss of loved ones. Memory loss. Living with situational depression, a natural response to all that we are experiencing. Along with tending to the daily challenges of life, like going to the grocery store after you've had a recent surgery. And through it all, working to remain a part of the solution to the problems that continue to vex all of our lives. Not adding to the burdens that those who love us are carrying. There may be less and less energy to live in this way, and all of us who are old are facing the limitation of ending our scheduled time on earth. Much to carry without giving in to it, without becoming a depressed couch potato. You know what a couch potato means? Well, I'll tell you in just a minute. We all feel called to it at times. When I succumb for a time to it, it feels rewarding at first. I've earned this, by God. All my life of work and service, hell, I'm 83 now. I deserve my chips and Coke and big sharp TV on my comfy fall leather couch. Leave me alone. Then reality seeps in, and I'm either pushed or inspired to get off my backside and begin again. I'm supported by my life experience, a perk of being old. For example, living one day at a time has been a precious life skill I learned in my late 20s and in my 30s, and I practice imperfectly today. And I am blessed to be married to a beautiful woman who lovingly says the truth and gently calls me out. So, how can we old ones be inspired to live our lives as elders, giving, supporting, leading, rather than to just be old? Well, we have to work at it. To be an elder depends on the culture in which one is living, of course. It is certainly an older person who is both respected and effectively helping in whatever culture they live. And we all need role models from which to learn, which they serve. Let me give you a picture, though, of an indigenous elder, which is very different than an elder in our culture, our society. Some years ago, I was at a Lakota Sundance on Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota on land owned by Frank Foolscrow. We understood that Frank himself was coming to this particular Sundance and would bless each person in attendance, and in turn be blessed by the people there. That opportunity was enough to bring many from the surrounding area to add to those already participating, ending up with several hundred present that day. So you know a little about Foolscrow. He was the heir apparent to Black Elk, the renowned medicine man whose great vision opened the doors to the formerly secretive spiritual ceremonies like the Sundances, noting that the world needed those ways in order to heal. Many of you have learned about these ways because of Black Elk. When the great man died in the 1930s, Foolscrow continued Black Elk's opening, his work, serving the people. As a result of his being, many people of all colors and cultures were welcomed at the ceremonies previously closed. And that day, as we stood in a long line, slowly each of us came to him, sitting in a chair padded with beautiful star quilts. When my time came to shake his hand, it was a firm handshake I received, and he looked directly into my eyes in a kind way. I will always remember. I felt blessed. He was then 102 years old. That was a life-changing experience for me. Frank's grizzled photo looks at me from my office wall, and his prayer to be made a, quote, hollow bone, unquote, a channel through which spirit might flow, became my own prayer. In our culture, we have many old ones who lead and are deeply respected. But there is also a dark side, let's say, the quashing of potential elders. Here is an excerpt from a poem I wrote about my mother's life in a nursing home, where she would eventually, at age 98, peacefully end her life. The poem ended up also being about another way of seeing the old in our culture. Here's an excerpt. My mother lives in her ending place now, unable to walk from chair to pot to bed. She surrenders to the care of mostly kind strangers who hold her power in their hands. Other cultures wisely place the grandmother in roles of great honor, seeking their counsel, seeking their wisdom. Not so in my white people's ways. A European tribe that understands old age as disappearance, death visited upon the living. Feeble gray dowagers of great inner wealth treated as recalcitrant children. Eat your porridge. Come on now. That's a good girl. infantilization of such degree there seems no way back to the solidness of who truly lives inside each tired body lining the narrow hallway. Unquote. My mother was, in truth, an elder, a homemaker par excellence, a poet, the secretary to the president of the local college, a singer, a musician, a magical grandmother, a bright light in the lives of many. She was one of the first women to be the president of the board of our church, and she was a deeply devout Christian. Always open to other ways of seeing, including mine, which were quite different, but faithful to her religion. She remained cheerfully present in that nursing home despite how she was occasionally treated, while being a loving support to others there as a last gesture of her elderhood. Closer to home, there are many elders who helped create and maintain this Unitarian Universalist community. We wouldn't be here without them. Two very different people, Bob Drew and Eunice Brock, first come to mind. Many of you know Bob. He was my friend for 36 years. We sang together in a couple of choirs, and he was in the JUC choir during the years that I directed it. We liked each other. His liking of me made me feel good because I respected him so much. When someone as agreeable and caring as Bob likes you, you must be doing something right. Wife Carol was a companion elder, both making the world brighter, living lives of integrity, supporting the human journey here in this church and in wider ways. Now, Eunice was a different kind of elder. Those of you know her, who knew her, cantankerous, opinionated, and funny. And she gave herself to this church. She brought JU kids to her farm near Golden Gate Canyon State Park and would teach them about nature and animals and give them time with her sheep and goats and chickens and hiking over her land. And at Easter, all of you, any of you who remember, what a joy she created for everyone by filling half of the chancel with vegetation and flowers and little critters like chicks. The kids loved it, and so did the adults. Every year. And then she extended her elderhood by selling all of her land after her husband Ed died. And at age 80, moving to China, where she had grown up as the child of missionaries. She asked the Chinese government for permission and settled in a village there. She proceeded to build a school, a library, bring computers to the school, and many other kind of practical acts while becoming a much-loved figure in the village, and a greatly respected elder in China as a whole, where the tradition of filial piety, the respect of the old ones, still remains strong. She appeared on national television there several times. She asked the government permission to die there, and well into her 90s, she did. I miss her, and Bob and Carol still, as some of you do, I know. I believe that their spirits and many others greet us at the door to this church each Sunday. And I need to get a drink of water. One of the wonderful things about aging is taking medication. And one of the wonderful things about medication is it dries out your mouth. Getting clear on the words that describe the parameters of our old lives is important. Elder, as we have been describing, sounds like elderly, which is like old, older, aged, senior. It may be a similar physical condition for all of us. It can be the same in body for an elder, of course, as everyone else, as every old one, filled with wrinkles or limping or slower in gait and slower in mental acuity even, and many other areas, but not necessarily in spirit and action. So, let's talk about what it means to be old. To be old. And to be facing the end of life. All of us wish to end our lives at our best. In other words, to die peacefully. Here's poet Rev Barry on the subject of growing old. Quote, "I know I am getting old, and I say so. But I don't think of myself as an old man. I think of myself as a young man with unforeseen debilities." And Mary Oliver on dying peacefully. Quote, "Sometimes I grow weary of the days with all their fits and starts. I want to climb some old gray mountain slowly, taking the rest of my lifetime to do it. I want to look back at everything, forgiving it all, and peaceful, knowing the last thing there is to know." All that urgency, not what the earth is about. In 10,000 years, maybe a piece of the mountain will fall, unquote. Being present and looking clearly at the end of our lives is the ultimate spiritual experience, I think. To see all that we have done and are doing in our lives and realizing it will disappear. That consciousness holds the stuff of depression and aliveness simultaneously. Knowing time is limited gives energy to do the creative and impactful now. There isn't that much time left. This is the time that ongoing dialogue with whatever spirits to which we connect, God, higher power, the higher self, spirit of life, as well as dialogue with friends and family, that it has great meaning. Asking questions like, what is and has been the meaning of my life? What will happen to me at the moment of death? What will happen to those I love that I leave behind? These become the great questions that follow us even into sleep, that prepare us for when our time does come. Here's an excerpt from a poem I wrote recently. When I was afraid a dear friend was dying, he did not, and he is here today, and I am grateful in so many ways. The poem, quote, "We who are old do become weary. Old age stirs limitation into the cells of our being. It renders dreams and visions now undoable, too filled with effort. We know that the end of our precious lives is a far shorter destination than the distance from which we have come. We know. You don't need to pretend around us. We would rather just talk about it. Death is simply a part of life, though our denial screams otherwise. Why did he die? We wail. Well, though there are such painful examples of too early, before the die is even cast, mostly we die when our time has come. Slowly, we understand that the soft voice we have been hearing at the edge of things is the voice of spirit calling us home, unquote. Well, as we arrive toward the end of this sermon, let me share an unfortunate conclusion with you. In this country, at this time, in this church at this time, we really don't have elders with a capital E. We are too independent, too insistent on certain social rules to be followed to allow for clearly recognized leaders who are called capital E, elders. Those who would easily be recognized as such in many other cultures are those who have the characteristics that we have been talking about today, but alas, they are not respected and honored as the grandmothers and grandfathers who deserve respect and recognition for their spiritual and moral leadership and their continuing contributions to society. It is a reality that illustrates the ways that those who are old become less seen, less validated in many ways. So, what being an elder really means today, here, is that there are many old ones who are doing heroic work to live a productive life until their time comes. They are positive, happy, healthy because they work at being healthy, compassionate and caring, whose presence makes a huge difference in all of our lives. They are our teachers, if we would but listen. They wish to be mentors to those younger in order to pass on the wisdom that they have gained and to make a difference in the world. They are our elder role models, let's call them. They deserve to be celebrated. In the meantime, we, the old, are encouraged by those elder role models to be an integral part of the interdependent journey of life, of which we have been talking this month. Connecting with the young and middle and old to form this loving, interconnected web of existence of which we are all a part, to join it. Those of us who imperfectly work to, quote, do those things that the people may live, unquote, as the Lakota say, serving the interdependent web of existence in our language. All of us doing this sacred work together, no matter our names or ages or descriptions, helping all the people to live well together. Mitakuye. We are all connected. We are all related. Amen.